All right, legends, how's everybody doing? Let's analyze the situation here all together. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Let's take a look here at the price of Bitcoin. Getting a little bit of a dump, testing the lows of the weekend. Can we bounce off this range? Let's go. Congratulations to absolutely everybody, guys, because we had an altcoin season, guys. Believe it or not, we had altcoin season. We're in altcoin season. Altcoin season is here. It's happening. Make sure to take some profits from those moon bags on altcoins because we are officially in altcoin season, right? Massive rallies, 10, 20, 30 X's, take some profits. And everybody's like, hang on a minute. You know, some of my altcoins didn't pump too much. What's going on, right? What the hell's going on? Right? Anyway, we could see some little shakeouts on some altcoins, some corrective moves. Of course, we are looking for bull market continuation eventually, right? Bitcoin to new all-time highs seems very, very likely in the next coming weeks. However, a larger corrective range is very much on the cards, guys, right? We'll be analyzing the different scenarios here for the price of Bitcoin, but altcoin season, guys, we've had the biggest pump and dump on search altcoins on Google Trends throughout July and August, guys. I don't know where this came from, but this is like unusual, right? I think this is kind of bullish because you get, you know, euphoria on searching altcoins throughout July, and, you know, August just dumped right back down. You know, people lost interest very quick, which is something that happens in this, you know, new era, this generation. You know, you want quick things, right? I'm not interested. I'm in and I'm out, right? Very unusual pump and dump here on the altcoin search. Anyway, let's go through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. We did form a double top. We love double tops, guys, especially when we are in a range and we are hitting major resistance, okay? We love double tops. We love double tops when you're hitting a major resistance zone, right? We were trying to getting above here, the value area low of this trading area. And it's very, very choppy. In the Legends Pro today, we were, you know, some people were discussing that on spot exchanges, the highs were not taken, such as Coinbase, Binance, okay? Basically on spot, the local highs of Friday were not taken, which is very disturbing, I have to say, okay? It is very disturbing. So what can we say? What can we say? Are these highs going to be taken? Is this some kind of a part of a corrective structure and the highs are going to be taken again, guys? Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. But we'll be doing the technical analysis, the most important levels of support and resistance. I do believe that this movement is very corrective, okay? And I don't see major strength despite going to higher levels here from this momentum, and that a slightly larger pullback, at least to this area, is very, very likely, with the potential eventually to actually claim the lows at $107,000. I mean, till proven otherwise, right? The overall general idea here is that we are going to be taking out all-time high at some point before the end of the year, right? The question is, will it be throughout the interest rate decision? Will it be in September? Will it be October, November, right? Was this the low? Because this counts as a corrective structure, not an impulsive move down. But we're very much aware of the range continuing, right? Before going to all-time high. That's the main thing, right? So let's go through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. Hit the like, says 𝗞𝗔. Absolutely, legends. Let's destroy that like button. If we get to 500 likes, we're going to give $500 on live, okay? Long time since we haven't even hit 500 likes, guys. Likes are going down, views are going down. It's the destruction of the channel, guys. You know, I probably won't be here in a few months, but it is what it is, right? We've got to move on. If, you know, we don't get interest, we don't get views, we don't get likes, we don't get people interested in the content, well, c'est la vie, right? But anyway, if we do get the people interested in the education, talking about different scenarios, right, and what could happen, and obviously some trading setups, then obviously we will continue here on YouTube, okay? Hola, K Comunda, how are you doing? H Comuna, how are you doing? This week is muy importante, says Comuna. Yeah, absolutely. This week is muy importante. We do have, of course, the interest rate decision and FOMC economic projections. I'll likely go live on the interest rate decision. Everybody in Earth that is, doing YouTube and finance and trading is going to go live, but we'll just join the bandwagon as well and go live also, okay? Just to check the volatility. Slap the like button, says 𝗬cie𝗂𝗿. What's the song name? I have no idea. You can look at it with Shazam or something, right? The intro song, I would assume. Hit the like button. Much love, Maku. Much love to everybody. Zhao, Machu, 𝗬cie𝗂𝗿, Darius, invert head and shoulder with the throwback to the neckline and then pump. Maybe we can take a look at that. Good morning. Live made the live. Absolute legend. He has rave song records by Sui, Say, and Ondo, says Thiomi here, giving financial advice. Thank goodness you're not shutting down the channel before the interest rate announcement. Much love, my man. The highs were taken on Binance. Yeah, the highs were taken basically on most of the futures exchanges, okay? I mean, I usually chart on Bybit US dollar. I've been doing for years. And, it's interesting because when there's a high or a low that hasn't been taken on a few exchanges, I mean, mostly on spot. You can go on Coinbase, you can go on, most Bitstamp. I think most of the spot ones did not take out the high, okay, which is, a little bit disturbing, right? You usually want to take out that high, not half of the exchanges takes the high and the other half doesn't, which makes you a little bit aware, right? It makes you aware because preferably you want to have that high taken on most of the exchanges. Also on the BTC futures, which is BTC1, the high was not taken on Friday also, right? So you're even considering the futures chart, right? The CME futures on Bitcoin. The highs of Friday were not taken out today with this movement up. So yeah, it's not nice. But anyway, it would have been the best option eventually to get into a short, just a general swing failure pattern, double top scenario, which are the best trades to get into with good risk management, right? You pump above the high, you reject from it, you sniper a short, stop loss at the high. There's no more to it. Your stop gets above the high. So yeah, I mean, they've got a nice rejection here. Some of the Legends Pro did get into that short because they are very much aware. Let me know if you did catch the double top here, which eventually coming down to the lows of the range of the weekend, right? Last weekend, it's a zone where we could get a bounce, okay? There's no doubt about it, right? This is actually a zone where you're looking for a basic resistance support flip. You're sweeping the lows, so a reaction bounce here would be more than natural, right? All of the lows of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday basically have been swept with this movement down, getting a little bit of a local double bottom, and a relief rally here would be more than normal, right? So, but whoever catch that short, I mean, just a nice little day trade. It was early this morning. Quick sniper, if you had your phone, right, or you were around, right, if you did have some alerts at the highs, it would have been a good option of eventually to get into that short to the lows of the range. You're already taking some profits and maybe leaving some open for the bearish case scenario, which there is a bearish case scenario without a doubt. But you want to be defensive. Market is still uptrending, right? It's still looking pretty bullish. Let's go through the comment section, say hello to the beautiful community, and we'll talk about different scenarios. The highs were taken on Binance, just so you know. Yeah, Binance, Bybit, most of the futures exchanges. Much love from Hungary. Much love to you, my man. I actually have, some property in Hungary. Funny enough, just to point that out. Actually, it is triple. It is a triple top. Absolutely. We do get a bit of a triple top right there from Friday's highs, another Friday high, and then this high throughout Monday. this is the thing right now, right? Can this be the top? Can it be the top for a larger correction? Absolutely can. It absolutely can, right? The bounce is going to give us all of the information here because the movement down does look pretty aggressive. It is an aggressive move down that for the moment, with the local structure that we have, looking at the lower time frames, does look a little bit impulsive. It does look quite impulsive. You got some pretty interesting volume in the middle here. So you can see how, you know, this downtrend has a little bit of power. Large kind of fourth wave. Now you're busy with your fifth wave. You get the impression of a possible move down in an impulse. Now the movement today that we had this morning also counts very nicely as an impulse. So it's like, what the heck is going on? You know, I thought after an impulse, right, we should be forming a correction and, you know, choppy price action and then get another leg here to the upside. What's been interesting throughout the last few days and the weekend is, you know, when we did the live stream yesterday, we noticed that this price action is corrective. The only bearish case scenario that we had yesterday was, we pointed this out, the only one, which you never want to give it the highest probability because it's a contracting diagonal, is if you have a three-wave move down and you get that overlap, right, from the pivot low and almost hitting the pivot high, there's nothing bearish about this move. Nothing bearish. The only bearish thing that would happen in this kind of price action is getting a contracting diagonal, which you have a zigzag down, zigzag up, and another zigzag down, right? And you have a bit of a five-wave move to the downside here. If you can count a corrective structure in an uptrend, you just don't even want to even think about the contracting diagonal to the downside because it's a low probability pattern. And if it's not even halfway developed, we talked about this yesterday, it's the only bearish scenario that we have, and we're not even halfway through here, which eventually points out the potential of a WXY, right? A sideways combination, right, of corrective structures in three waves, where you have a three-wave down, a three-wave up, and then another three-wave down to claim the lows, and this would have been your epic SFP to join a long position here as you get the reaction, realizing that, you know, this entire structure is not bearish and the highest probability is to take out the high at some point, right? You finished a long choppy structure, and a good attempt would have been a long here with the stop loss just because you finished your last three-wave move down. I mean, this was early this morning. This was about 2-3 o'clock in the morning my time, but you know, if it would have been in front of the chart, it would have been a good opportunity to jump into a long here with stop loss at the low as we recover, realizing that there's low probability here and moving down later on after this reaction. So very, very corrective price action. Now, we've taken the highs on most of the exchanges. On the higher time frame, we are giving the chance for this three-wave structure, right? You could label this the high right there. We are giving the chance of this potentially happening. And we know that the price action takes staircase to the upside and elevator down, right? The movements down, when they happen, they are very aggressive. And we kind of want, if you miss the double top scenario, you want to get into a bounce, right? This is when we had the swing failure pattern from all-time high, and you are looking for a bounce, guys. I missed the swing failure pattern because I was sleeping also. I wasn't in front of the charts to get this. I already woke up in the morning and we were already trading down here, right? We were already getting the rejection. So when you reject like this, look at, I mean, the bounces were very small, right? It just didn't give you any good chance here to get into the momentum to the downside, right? Since we created that swing failure pattern, and we did drop over $10,000 in just a matter of a few days with no big bounces. So, you know, this is the deal when you're trying to get into a short, where if you don't get into the double top, triple top situation, right? You're looking for the bounce really to get into the short. You might think, well, I want a long. Well, I'm not particularly interested in a long position with this movement down right now. It would have been interesting for a long early this morning, where we did have that, very, very sideways, choppy price action, right? Very, very corrective structure, which gave you a chance to get into a long here for a WXY and claim the highs. This was your long here, basically. Right now, as we do have the potential of this being a finished high with a double top on most of the exchanges, it's not the kind of sexiest structure to look for longs on the falling knife, if I'm honest with you. So the next bounce, and this is what I was commentating here in the legends, double top, double bottom, swing failure pattern, they always a great option, but you just need to be in front of the chart, right, to just kind of, get into the trade on the rejection with stop loss at the high. So, I mean, this was the short entry. And if this is going to be bearish, we are going to give a chance here as well for this to be, maybe not the high, because on some exchanges we did not hit the high. So can this be some kind of a corrective structure, which is just a little bit extended, right? You had a pretty nice rally last week. What about all of this? Could this all be part of a correction? There is definitely a way of counting a possible corrective structure here, and it would just be a zigzag A wave right over here, and a flat in your B wave where you have a zigzag up, zigzag down, nice impulsive move there. So this would be your B wave, and now your C wave here. You've got A, B, your B as a flat, and then a C. It all has to do with the potential bounce. The risks here of the high being in, and this was a sniper short, guys. This is the short to be in, right? Leaving some open for the potential weakness. But this is where a lot of people are, if you did not catch the high, people are probably interested in longing here the dip. And the people that did not catch the double top short, they want to wait for a bounce most commonly, right? To see if it is going to be corrective and then jump into the short trade, right? But, when it falls, right? We just don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows. But we can have some ideas on if we do get that bounce, we're going to give the chance here for the bulls eventually, as on some exchanges we did not take out the high. On the futures chart we did not take the high, and it is very disturbing because it makes it a poor high. You never want a poor high where it's not claimed the recent highs. It just gives it a chance that there's unfinished business here, right? It's unfinished business, as some exchanges did not take that high. So we're going to give the chance here for the bulls to take that high once again. And what would be, where would I be confident in saying, okay, very likely the highs are going to be taken? It will all have to do with the next move. The next bounce, wherever this happens, if we are going to create some more little choppy lows here, is going to give us the good information. When you form a high, right? We were already saying yesterday, this does not look bearish. The probabilities are higher that the high is going to be taken. The only bearish case scenario was that contracting diagonal, right? Which eventually you never want to give it priority unless you have, more than half of the pattern filled, right? With a fourth wave and your fifth wave in, and then you can speculate on the bounce to see if it is going to be corrective and then get the leg down, which you need a lot of information. So you're always in an uptrend. When you get three wave overlap, you always want to think this high highly likely is going to get taken, right? And obviously you're looking for corrective structures. If you get the opportunity to sweep this low and get a reaction, that's where you want to long to the highs. That's it. That's your trade, right? So yeah, a little bit disturbing right now, as the high was taken with a strong impulse, and now we got an impulsive move down, which is like, wow, this is making it a little bit difficult right now, because you do have an impulsive move up take out the high, and now you're moving down impulsively. So we need to, there is that ABC flat potential here. There is the potential of this being a double zigzag and the high was taken. That's it. You're starting a downtrend. Now what I am interested in is to really analyze whenever the bounce happens, right? What is going to happen in that bounce whenever the low is in, right? Of course, this could still fall another few $100 or even $1,000. I'm interested in the bounce. How are we going to bounce here? Eventually, there's two ways of bouncing. There's only two ways of bouncing here. One of them would be the bullish one. Very aggressive, move up, right, with high volume. That's looking to get very close to these highs, potentially the 7-8 Fibonacci, right? It just moves up very impulsively. And then eventually you're looking for that same kind of price action that was formed throughout the weekend in a smaller time frame. Very choppy, overlappy price action, which is going to obviously give you the hint of this is bullish, right? We're looking for the highs to be taken here with the next leg up. Just because there's a lot of confusion right now with where we at. Some highs were not taken. This can be counted as a possible flat recovery. Take out the highs later on. This can be counted as the high, even though on some exchanges we did not hit that high. That there is the possibility of, what if this is the end of the, three-wave structure? That was it. You formed the double top here, and it's going to start dropping aggressively. And if you didn't catch the double top, then you're like, I kind of missed the high, right? So it's very, very hard. If the price wants to tank, it's going to tank, and it's going to start tanking, and it's going to get shallow pullbacks. But hopefully we do get some kind of a bounce here, right? What I would like to see at some point, if this does hold, because we are at support right now, eventually, right? We've got that massive choppy price action here from Thursday. What I want to see here on the price, wherever the bounce happens, there is a good chance that the bounce might happen in this area, okay? As explained, you got, the first leg down of today, then the next leg down, which was pretty aggressive with high volume, and then lower volume and very choppiness here, right? Which is the perfect situation to get that reversal. So a bounce in this region is very much a good chance that it could happen, okay, in this zone after the choppiness. So that bounce is going to give me all of the information that I need to either take a short or a long. As mentioned, the bounce, wherever that bounce happens eventually, we're not saying, if it's going to bounce from here, but if once the bounce happens, right, and you get this overlappy price action where your third wave doesn't shoot up with power, looking at the 15-minute time frame, right, approximately, and you get lots of overlap, I am going to realize that this choppy price action with no steam, with no intention, with good movement ups here with high volume, is going to tell me that this is probably the local high. The lows are likely going to be claimed again, and I'm interested in looking for shorts in this region eventually, right? Round about 50% to the golden pocket from the high to the low. If we create that choppiness, if the price is going to be choppy to the upside, right? Because it's the reversal way of thinking from an uptrend, right? When you're uptrending, you want the movements down to be choppy and very three-wavy. Move up, three-wavy, overlap, likely to take out the high. Bang, take out the high. Correction, choppy and overlappy, right? This is the moment you realize that this is very likely a correction and you're going to take out the high, and eventually longs is in your interest. What if this has been the reversal impulse? because you can count a pretty strong 5 waiver to the downside. The only conclusion that we have here, that we want to be cautious that some highs were not taken, and that an ABC flat it can be countered here, right? An ABC flat can be countered. So the movement to the upside, if we are going to get a powerful move up throughout, the next 1 to 2 days between today and tomorrow, then eventually what I want to look at is the overlappy correction to realize it's game on to take out the highs again. And this is where you want to look for your day trade long position to take out the highs, right? Stop loss at the low, right? Add to the position once you have confident that you're breaking out, right? And then obviously just, take that trade, or stop loss beneath the, the last higher low. So that's a little bit of what I'm looking for here for intraday setups, guys. I was very much vocal on this in the pro community on, how obviously the double top, we did get some pro members, getting into the short trade here on the double top, cheeky short, right? It's just the double top SFP. Some people are brave to take it, which eventually you want to take some profits down here at the low, right? So possible bouncing area without a doubt. It's just a basic resistance support flip. You have the potential of forming a flat here, but I'm not interested in participating right now, just because, it would have been nice to participate in this SFP from here early this morning and also participate in this double top. But when you form a range, right? When you have formed a range throughout the weekend and you take out the lows of the range and you take out the highs of the range, coming down in SFP from this pivot doesn't become too attractive anymore, right? Because you kind of already swept the lows and swept the highs of the range of the last few days. So you know where I'm going, right? And this move does count pretty aggressive as an impulse. So this pivot zone, once it's been tested already throughout the weekend, early this morning, right, doesn't come too attractive anymore to get into the long, right? This one was attractive. Realizing this price action, yeah, that's an attractive SFP, long on the recovery, stop loss at the low. This morning SFP from the highs always becomes attractive on the rejection to get into the short. But then when you come back down to the lows and it's pretty impulsive, you could chop out here with the 4 5s, creates a little bit more volatility to the downside. Doesn't become that attractive anymore, right? So this is why, the only levels to participate in this range eventually in an uptrend was this long and was the double top short. Right now, there's no clear thing to do, there's no clear trade for me at the moment here. The double top, that double tops are great. I actually got into the cheeky double top while I was at the gym. So just a cheeky one. Entry on the SFP on the phone, relatively quick. It always gives you a good option here, these SFPs. So I am interested in the movement that happens here, right? Are we going to get that bounce? Whenever that bounce happens, it's time to study that bounce very, very carefully, because that bounce is going to give us the information that are we going to take out the highs again, or are we going to take out whatever lows are created? Because if the bounce is powerful with high volume and the correction is choppy, that's the moment we participate in the market to take out the highs again, right? We want to participate on the breakout. We want to participate here on the overlap, stop loss, near the lows, and realize that there's high chance that we take out the high again. If the movement to the upside is not powerful and we have lots of overlap, we move up, we move down, we claim the highs, it gets very choppy. We get some resistance at the point of control of the entire range of the last few days, and it's not doing anything. It's just really overlapping a lot with the pivot high, pivot low. Third wave didn't, manage to cross through aggressively. that is the moment that we're going to say, you know what? Maybe the high is in. Maybe the high is in. This price action is not convincing me unless you have a multiple 1-2 or a flat, but we will discuss that, right? In the Legends Pro, you know, be paying attention if I am awake eventually. It is getting late, but, you know, looking for a successful day trade in this zone. Anyway, we can go through the higher time frame. I'm a little bit skeptical, guys. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. On Wednesday, we do have the FOMC economic projections and the interest rate decision. We know it's gonna likely be 25 basis points. Is it priced in? Is it priced in? Did we rally into the hype of interest rate cuts throughout the last 2 weeks, which inevitably we already knew that information, right? Or is it just building up a massive skyrocket, you know, projection to the upside? Because there's a lot of hype in this interest rate cut decision this week, which eventually we knew about, right? Well, everybody knew, not everybody knew that it was, you know, for the last few weeks, that it's very likely going to be 25 basis points, not 50, very unlikely. But what if there's no cuts, right? That would be interesting. That would be interesting. Anyway, let me know down below. Much love to you, Donald Pump. Let's see here the votes, guys, because this week we skyrocket. 40% of people are saying that we're gonna rocket this week. 47%. There is a little bit more people that are slightly bearish, but it is almost a 50-50. Nothing nada is 14%. Boy, oh boy, Staffer1, ICP has got to be your worst shout so far, Andy, says Omar. Yeah, well, I mean, let's talk about ICP, because I am very much in favor of ICP claiming $4.20, guys. This was said throughout the last few weeks. You know, this box is here for a reason. I do think that the lows are going to be swept, and that's the moment. I mean, the spot bag is average price is $5 from this range. It's just an accumulation area, and I'm waiting for the spring point to allocate a little bit more, but I need to see the spring point, right? There is that risk of moving lower eventually, but yeah, I mean, we need to chill, right? We need to chill. This is not over. This is still a good accumulation zone, and I have been looking for the lows to be taken for the last few weeks, guys, just because we haven't got a clear impulse. This looks very corrective, and when you're in a downtrend and you got this correction like this, very overlappy, very choppy, you have a high chance that the lows are going to be claimed at $4.20. Okay, so I am aware of that. I am actually in favor of this happening in the next, you know, couple of weeks. So it's kind of, you know, I am waiting for that possibility to happen here on ICP. So nothing unusual on that side. We will rock it, says Miguel. Almost all big news are priced in, says Mako. That is true. That is true. We need more data for sure. It is priced in. Some people saying here in the comment section, hit the like button, fam, or else your altcoins will drop more, says Mako. I mean, we are in an altcoin season. My ICP bag didn't pump. We did get some pumps on Dogecoin, Avalanche, Solana, the big ones, right? The big ones in the top 50 did get some pretty decent pumps. Some other ones in the top 100 did not, right? And then you take a look at the altcoin season index, and it's like, we're in altcoin season, legends. What the heck is going on? And I am worried because the Bitcoin dominance is at a very, very big support level, and eventually a relief rally. I think a relief rally is very much on the horizon here. You know, some kind of a larger relief rally on the Bitcoin dominance, just because we are at a big crucial level of support that was very respected throughout 2020 and 2019, and we're just at that base right now. We've got an aggressive drop throughout the last couple of weeks, right? The last few weeks, and this is very, very common price action for the reversal. So you get the big move down and then you're like chopping, right? You chop and you chop and you chop. It's very, very common to get that reversal at this stage, just for, you know, just for a little shakeout, a little correction, get people a little bit mad, right? I'm very much aware that will be the moment where ICP gets to $4.20, and that's the moment where it's probably going to be the last opportunity, right? Because last opportunities do happen, right? They do happen in the bull cycle, right? In the bull run. There will be that moment that the low is never given again, right? Which was the case for ADA. ADA with the C19 crash, of course, that's a different event. But there will be that moment where the opportunity will only be maybe a couple of weeks, a few days, till it actually starts rallying aggressively, right? So yeah, I think ICP could give that last opportunity eventually if it does get below $4.20, but let's move on, right? ICP is not one of my biggest bags. It is 5% of my portfolio. I didn't make it a significant big bag, a little bit too big potentially, but yeah, if ICP were to disappear from the face of the earth and go to zero, it would be a big hit for me. It would be it would hurt a little bit, okay? If anybody wanted to know about that. So anyway, about Bitcoin, it's still bullish momentum throughout the last couple of weeks. The downtrend shift was broken, still maintaining some of the longs, still got a short, which is at a loss, still holding the Ethereum short. We talked about the potential of Ethereum coming down a little bit longer for the next couple of weeks. Given the potential, it is possible. We did reject in the end, a little bit of an extension here on this pump, but we did correct throughout the last, couple of days. 5%. Is this just a correction and we're going to reverse? We were explaining on yesterday's live stream why there is a possibility of forming a lower high with this rally that we had in the last few days, basically last week. There is a potential of forming a lower high here, which was explained on yesterday's stream. There is a good chance that this could happen, especially with the Bitcoin dominance getting that relief rally, where altcoins are going to correct down, right, for a few days, maybe a few weeks. But this week is going to be very interesting, right? We do have the interest rate decision. People might take it as a massive bullish reaction, and maybe people are, in this buying frenzy, right? Well, looking at the technicals, I like the idea that Ethereum could actually correct a little bit longer before taking out all-time high and still remaining in that short position here. Still remaining in that short, which was almost stopped out. And let's see. I'm not happy to long here. I'm not happy to long. The pretty obvious long zone that we mentioned on Ethereum, because I'm looking for more swing trades, okay, would be sweeping up the lows of $4,000, right, and getting into this area. This would be the ideal zone to start looking for swing longs. I mean, you can scalp all day long if you want, but I'm interested in the higher time frame swing trade positions. The short was epic, got in a beautiful swing failure pattern, nice move down, made some really insane profits here just a couple of weeks ago on the rejection of all-time high, because it was unlikely that we were going to break successfully all-time high with this kind of correction and this 5-wave move up. I was like, yeah, this is not going to shoot up from here. It's unlikely to shoot up. So a double top on Ethereum here was very, very attractive, which was one trade that we mentioned a few weeks ago in the Legends Pro and also in the VIP. But people forget about that. People forget, you know, I'm getting into big positions here. So I'm like really happy to hold on for a week or two. But people want to actively trade. People want to get into trades every day, 4 or 5 trades. You know, we're here to trade and make money. And the reality is, the more you trade without a plan, without good probability setups, the more chances you have to lose money in this market, right? Unless you have infinite money, millions of dollars, like some crazy influencers that I know here that, you know, have infinite money to just get, you know, add to position, millions of dollars and add to position, right? Eventually in a bull run, you are going to get, you are going to basically catch the rally regardless, right? I know a few of them, right, that have infinite limit longs here and they never get liquidated. So, which is not the case for many people, right? But there's some people that have huge amount of money and they have millions of dollars to add to a long position and they literally never get liquidated. So eventually you are going to make the profit. So anyway, let's go right away through the comment section. Let's just hope ICP does not mirror Umbrella, says 𝗖𝗿𝘆𝗽𝗍. Very true, my man. Yeah, ICP is a high cap project. Okay, it is a working project. They do have the TVL is increasing, so I wouldn't expect ICP to disappear from the face of the earth, but we never know. Okay, we never know. I mean, look at Terra Luna, look at, you know, FTX exchange. These things happen, right? These things happen. This is why Bitcoin and Ethereum become your strongest bets in crypto investment, because anything built on Ethereum could be a bunch of BS, right? L1s usually are the ones that you want to really consider, investing in, right? Avalanche, Solana, Tron's done really well. BNB is one of the best performers in this bull run, right? All of these different L1s where you can build on top of them, they are good. But projects that, you know, ICP is good as well. You know, Algorand hasn't performed that well either for the moment, and I do hold some Algorand. It's something like 1% of my portfolio. Big rejection here. But these are OGs. These are old projects, right? Yeah, I see Algorand is, yeah, it is bullish without a doubt. I do see it bullish eventually and getting a nice rally in altcoin season, but we're not going to be here talking about these altcoins. Aero is ripping. Aerodrome. Yeah, we did talk about Aerodrome a few weeks ago. There it is. We talked about the multiple 1-2 setup here. And yeah, this is very possibly, very possibly your wave 4 development. Probably going to take out the highs again on Aerodrome here. But we talked about Aerodrome in August, and we talked about this swing long position with stop loss at the low. And if you get stopped out, you look for the double bottom, stop loss, entry, and to take out the highs and rip here. This is the best kind of structure because many will believe that this is a bear flag. But Solana was another one, guys, right? Solana was just a few weeks ago. This was actually over a month ago. But we talked about the multiple 1-2 setup here and considering the flat as well for the second 1-2. So you either enter here on the trend break, stop loss at the low. If you get stopped out and you recover, re-enter, stop loss at the low of the fake out, take out the highs. Whoever got into into this long did absolutely massive. Holy moly, hang on a second. And Solana as well, just a few weeks ago, guys. Solana, and these are swing trades, right? These are not trade. Aerodrome, somebody was saying it's flying, but yeah, it does look like it is starting to pick up here. from that pullback that we had in the last couple of days. Looks pretty good. Solana was one of them, guys. Solana was one of them that we mentioned also a few weeks ago. I hope that somebody did get into some swing longs on this retracement when we were trading. I think I have it here still. Yeah, well, no, we talked about it yesterday, about this multiple 1-2 setup. This is getting ready to pop out, which it did. Anyway, let's go through Bitcoin. Bitcoin still pretty much flat, not doing much here. I've literally explained my next scenario here on the price of Bitcoin. Whoever got into the double top, congratulations. I mean, this was a nice rejection of a few $1,000s. It becomes tricky to get into a long right now here. You might think every single pullback is to buy. But for me, this one is not the pullback to buy, if I'm honest, okay? The next information will be crucial. Inside of this range, there's no swing longs to be taken here. Let's be honest, guys. There's no swing longs, but the long would have been taken here at this pivot. This was at 3 o'clock in the morning, my time. This would have been, you know, the good long to get in, realizing that this is a 333 structure. Take out the high and possible SFP would have been your option to get into the short. But as this has been violated, the highs and the lows so many times, this low doesn't become that interesting for a long for me anyway, right? So I'm going to keep it relatively simple here with the legends in the pro community. We either need that impulsive move up, corrective choppiness. We look for the highs to be taken. This will be the moment of opportunity after a major leg to the upside. Very strong, very powerful. And then the corrective choppy price action. You know, this is the choppiness after an uptrend is what you want to look for, right? To join the trend momentum. This starts looking good for longs to take out the highs. So yeah, that's going to be a little bit of what I'm looking for here. And if you rally with, you know, this very, very nasty, choppy, three-wavy structure, it will be the moment to look for short positions, right? To claim the low, potentially go to lower levels. So it's going to be interesting to see how the price develops in the next coming hours, which will be talked about in the Legends Pro. I will inform my next day trading setup in the VIP. If you're interested in joining the VIP, I have to say that Dylan has been absolutely crushing it with the altcoins throughout the last week. Avalanche, XRP, a few other ones, making some really good gains on those altcoins. And I'm, you know, focusing on Bitcoin and Ethereum. If you are interested in joining, you just need to sign up on one of the exchanges down below. It's Bluffin or either Weeks that have great deposit bonuses. You get fee discount on Weeks, okay? Check out the links down below, guys. If you want to join the VIP, you just sign up here, minimum deposit, and we'll hop you into the VIP where we're looking for setups together, okay? First link down below to send me a direct message, guys, where I'm just sharing my information, of course, on the trading setups. Not much has to be discussed on Bitcoin, okay? On the higher time frame, I'm very skeptical of this move being the move that takes us to all-time high successfully with just multiple 1-2s, breaking third wave. Eventually it could happen. But I'm not buying it, guys. I'm still in a long position here that I added, which I would be okay with that happening. I'm in a short that I would get stopped out eventually if we do get some signs of strength. But I am not buying that this is the uptrend that takes us to all-time high successfully in the next coming weeks. I could be completely wrong here, okay? So it wouldn't be the first time that I'm wrong, right? So yeah, the next information will be crucial. The next bounce would be crucial because it only takes one choppy bounce. It takes one choppy bounce to take the decision for the short. Because if this is going to be it's just one opportunity, literally, to get a good entry. The double top today was a good option. We always talk about double top potential. You know, if you're choppy and you're in a range, look for a double top or look for a double bottom. This was mentioned a couple of weeks ago on YouTube as well. When we had this movement down, we're looking for a fourth wave here. Guys, this is a good double bottom. I entered a little late on the sign of strength here. Stop loss was at the low. But I waited for the side with the change of structure. This happened early morning also. So, but this was talked on YouTube. I think we did a stream the day before saying, guys, very choppy price action. This is likely corrective. We're going to claim the low. It's a good double bottom if you want to catch the low here with stop loss, but at the low, to give you a very exponential move to the upside. It's the same happens here when you have the possibility of this being a three-wave structure and you get the choppiness throughout the weekend. The highs becomes a double top. When you've had such a nice rally and you start to dance around, taking out the highs for a double top is always a good option. Always a good option when you have a possible finished three-wave structure. It always becomes a good entry, good risk management. It's such a good entry point, such a good strategy that you can enter here with good risk management because your stop loss gets above the high. There's no more to it. If you get stopped out, well, it is what it is. But if it comes down to the lows, you're already making a 3-4 to 1 right from your stop. So, yeah, the thing is, if the bounce is very corrective, when we do have the potential of the most aggressive local bearish case scenario, which is the double zigzag, right? The most aggressive scenario would be that double zigzag here, or maybe even forming a larger zigzag down, and maybe form another zigzag up, and then your X comes here. Yeah, maybe that could be the case, and it's gonna correct till October. We'll be paying attention to that eventually. But when you have a structure that has the potential to claim the lows in the next 1 to 2 weeks, this would be a swing trade eventually. Get your best entry and your risk management is absolutely key here. Double top is a good option at this resistance zone. 50% Fibonacci, golden pocket, common area. That is the level where it needs to get rejected, either 50% or the golden pocket for the double zigzag. If you get above golden pocket, that's it. The double zigzag will not be attractive anymore. It would be more a sideways correction, and then we hit all-time high. But if you want to get in at the highest level possible, local double tops when you're chopping is your best option. It is your best option. So if this is going to be the high, let's just speculate that if this is going to be the high and we get a bounce, and the bounce from here is choppy, as mentioned, there is a chance of this being a flat, okay? And you form maybe a larger correction. It forms a flat, a zigzag up, and then a zigzag down, and it's a WXY, and this becomes a 1-2-1-2, and you just got a flat and a zigzag down, and everybody's like, what the heck's going on? We don't know it yet. When we get that information, we'll be aware. What I am interested is the bounce, because if this is going to be the high in a three-wave structure, if it is going to be the high, I don't know, nobody knows, I don't care, I know how to trade it. If this is going to be the high, where are my boxes? Based on the three-wave move up, and you have an impulsive move to the downside, which could determine your first move before the trend changes, right? This has the potential, we're not saying that it is, but this movement down has the potential to be the start of the trend change, which eventually the trend locally in the last 2 weeks is up. Why does it have the potential? Because it's claimed the highs. On some exchanges it hasn't. This is why this could be a little bit of a discussion. Maybe it's not the high. And this is why it makes it a little bit difficult, as on the futures we didn't claim the high, on some spot exchanges we didn't claim the high, but it has the potential. Let's leave it that way. It has the potential. I'm not saying it is the high, but it has the potential because we moved down in a 5-wave, pretty aggressive, impulsive move down. This is why decisions can be taken to take the short if the rally here is boom, 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 right? And it's the momentum. You're not getting these legs to the upside anymore, right? You're not getting these big pushes to the upside. The next moves to the upside are not like these ones that we've had throughout the last 2 weeks. The movement up is getting very choppy and very poor, which eventually, after a leg down that looks pretty damn aggressive, can be the initial stage. Because this is where I entered the long after the first push up. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get into this pullback and look for the rally. And I added to that long position. This was a couple of weeks ago. I understood that this is a reversal pivot. This is a reversal point. I understand where we're at right now. It's a reversal pivot. It is a reversal pivot, like I have here in the title of the video. I understand it has the potential. I understood it has the potential here. I understand it has the potential here. So whenever that bounce happens, if it does, I mean, this is what we fear when it's downtrending, that sometimes it just rolls and rolls and rolls down. So whenever that bounce happens, it needs to be studied. If you move up very aggressively, boom, 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 right, almost taking out the highs, choppiness to the downside, good sign. This is good. We're going up. We're going to take out the high. If we start dancing around here to the upside with overlap, right, in a very, very wedgy structure, it's not going to be looking good. The lows have the potential to be taken, and if the bears decide to nuke the price, then they will, right? And eventually you want to participate. You want to be in that choppiness, realizing that, the movements up, are not the same. It's not the same here after this movement down. So yeah, let's see if we do get this in the next 1 to 2 days, whenever that bounce happens. And it will be very, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Whoever catches the double top, well done, I have to say. Whoever catches the double top, it's always a good option after a major rally and choppiness for the weekend. Claiming the highs and double topping is always an option in a range. Anyway, let's go through the comment section. See what's going on. Dogecoin could lead alt season. It's always Dogecoin. It's always the meme coins, right, that lead altcoin season. Meme coins always get the major big pop. Wow, nice correction on, nice move down here on Dogecoin. I think Dogecoin, just failed to break out from the high here, but this could be building up massive multiple 1-2s. Okay, this does look very, very attractive. This is what happened to Solana, right, where you just bang bang until you actually get the pop out here at some point, and it's gonna fly, right? Solana has already taken that move to the upside, which is this wedgy structure, right? And you would arguably discuss that Dogecoin is at one of these stages, right, where it's taken out the high and now it's pulling back, but the momentum is bullish, the movements up are impulsive, and you're just looking for that pop, right? So it's just correcting down now. So it does become a good option here on Dogecoin to be excited in between the 50% from the last pivot low. Could arguably discuss this one right over here, or even this one, to be excited here between 50% and 7.8 to bottom out, which is 24 to 22 cents, because you're looking for that exponential uptrend structure to absolutely rocket. This is major swing trade scenarios, looking at the higher time frame. Whoever got into that Solana long on the retracement just 2 weeks ago, you know, made an absolute bank, right? It did pop here, take some profits, you know, very, very good squeezed move. We eventually hitting a bit of resistance right now, attempting to break it, which is the point of control of this region that we had in part of 2024 and 2025. Could get a bit of a pullback here eventually on Solana. But yeah, not much more here. We had the volatility this morning, guys, on Bitcoin. It's pretty damn stuck right now with US market open. It's Monday. There's not too much news. I think we are, you know, getting ready for the big events here. We are getting ready for the big events, which is eventually Wednesday mainly. We have retail sales on Tuesday, tomorrow, but Fed interest rate and FOMC economic projections press conference is on Wednesday. This is going to be the big day eventually. You know, even my grandmother will be going live on YouTube very, very likely, because it's just such an important day, and everybody who likes to go live in that day. So we'll probably go live also. Andy, can you ban Rob? Yeah, let's get this guy out of the way. Let's remove this guy. Where is he? Is he being a bit of a pest? We'll add him as moderator. Let's add him as moderator. Rob, is he being a bit of a wanker? Probably is. If people say that in the comment section. WorldCoin looks juicy, says Mattis. Let's take a look at WorldCoin right away. What's going on with WorldCoin? I've actually had a little bit of a boring week, guys. WorldCoin, big pump, and now eventually, when things go up that fast, guys, I don't like it when it goes up this fast. But eventually what we want to analyze here on this is, you know, bottom out in this wedgie structure throughout the next 1 to 2 weeks. Eventually this will be looking very corrective. I think it's natural to get such a big retracement after such a big hyped pump. So your zone of interest here is already hitting the minimum target, 50%. To the 7.8 is your interest area on WorldCoin, 150 to 113. This is the interest zone for the bounce. Of course, it can take 1 to 2 weeks. It's choppy. It can go to the golden pocket, 7.8. It's never good, guys, when something goes up this fast. It usually does retrace very fast to the mid-range. But when it gets to the mid-range, that's the moment you should be excited. So, you know, swing longs here could be very attractive in this box area. You're already hitting 50%. Yeah, without a doubt, this is likely going to be corrective. Very, very likely corrective price action. You're already overlapping here. Contracting diagonal is possible. Possible bounce from here is on the cards, but it could bounce and come back down later on, and then eventually, you know, you look for the rally to the end of September. Still very, very soon. Very, very soon. This could definitely still take a bit of time here to correct in the next coming weeks. Nothing to do here with WorldCoin. Big pump, starting to retrace very aggressively, which it's what usually happens after such a big pump. Nothing really here to be said. My grandma got a YouTube channel, or was it a joke? Yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke, my man. Andy, can you bring your gran live on Wednesday? Yeah, it will be fun. Would be fun. I think the highs is problematic because Coinbase didn't take it too. Yeah, Coinbase, Binance, Bitstamp, a few spot ones. The futures chart didn't take it also. It is definitely a problematic high, which means maybe the high is not in. Okay, maybe that local high has to be taken, because on many exchanges the highs were not taken, and it's just a poor high. So it gives you it opens the window of that high being taken. Okay, so yeah, let me know, legends, anything else. I finally started trading after 9 months of learning. First trade long from 107,500, and second was a short from 116.5. Shout out to Frankie Candles. Shout out to him. Shout out to Frankie Candles. Need to get him on the channel. Frankie Candles. Let's go right away through help tokenize my house. Lost longing fart coin. Anyway, not much more has to be said here on Bitcoin. I've had a relatively boring 1 to 2 weeks here on trading. Okay, this was actually in a loss because I'm in a short position, but overall still happy. Got Ethereum short, some Bitcoin long. I got another Ethereum cheeky short from the double top. And yeah, not much more has to be said. We'll be analyzing the scenarios throughout the next coming hours between today and tomorrow. If you want to join the VIP group, it's super simple, guys. You got bluffing all weeks, which has the biggest bonuses available out there. Okay, 10% cashback on bluffing. On weeks, you do get also 20% cashback, which is very attractive bonus that they have at the moment, as you can see here. And you can join the VIP if you wish, guys. Send me a DM on the first link in the description on Telegram. Once you sign up, we'll hop you in, okay, to the VIP where we are sharing our setups. And yeah, I'm very, very curious. Today, the double top was the option, and we're going to see how the price moves in the next coming hours between today and tomorrow to see if we can see a high probability setup on Bitcoin. Legends, thank you very much for joining today's live stream. Much love to everybody. Smashing up that like button. Make sure to destroy it before you leave the stream. Very poor like button, guys. It's going to be over for me. Channel's going down. Views are going down. I'm going to give up, guys. It is done. Much love to everybody. I need that like button to get to 200. Thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow.